thing to go off at 9:30.
Might want to postpone that to 9:45.
Nah, we'll be fine. All right, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Woo! My camera works. Yay!
Yay. Look at that. You can see Justin. How
Yeah,
about that shit?
you can see me and all my shit from behind me.
Yeah, that's even better.
Yeah.
Don't mind me. I will be eating Girl Scout cookies as we do this. My
Nice.
dogs will probably try to come up here
Oh,
because
I'm
they're going to
sure.
hear this.
My cat's been on my lap, but he just wants love.
Okay. So, anyway, um, so welcome everybody to the Toddcast. It's Thursday night. It's 8 o'clock. You got nothing else to do, right?
True.
Right? At
Hopefully.
least we hope you don't. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe. So, yep. See, here's one of the dogs. Yeah. Lucy's like, oh, fuck, you have too much shit in front of you, Dad. That's right. I built a barrier this time. So, uh, so, yeah. So, trying to think what else happened this week. So, uh,
Still no Aaron Rodgers for those who
thank
care.
God.
Yeah.
Uh,
Although
I saw
Cam
Dream.
Hayward kind of threatened him, which was kind of
That
hardcore.
is
He's
fair.
like, either be part of this team or don't. Like, quit screwing around. I'm like,
Fair.
yeah, that's the leader of the defense right there. You better listen to him, buddy.
I went to see Dream Theater on Tuesday down in Wheeling. That was awesome.
Oh, there you go.
Me and Carl from K and J. He's the K in K and J.
Mm.
That was a good time hanging out with Carl for the evening. So we don't often get to hang out. And since he's in a wheelchair, like I get to like hang out in his car or his truck, which is like a giant transformer because he drives, and like the thing opens up like a DeLorean, and it's like
Oh, nice.
fucking sweet. So, and everybody moved out of the way for him, which was great. So I just like walked behind him the whole time. So it's
Yeah,
like,
there you go.
this is awesome. We're going to concerts all the time.
You're much better than Scott and Justin. They just stand around and don't do shit.
No one moves for these guys.
Yeah.
They'll move for the guy in the wheelchair. So, um, but no, it was a great time. I had a lot of fun. So
There you go.
glad I went. Um, yeah. So we have some stuff coming up though. Let me go back to the front here.
Is that we have the Pittsburgh Comic Show
We do on Sunday. It's gonna be
Sunday.
crazy.
Yep.
That's from 10 to 4 down in South Hills Village, the hotel across from South Hills Village.
Yep.
We have our Pittsburgh Comics and Collectibles show April 13th out of Monroeville. We just listed all of the concerts that we're giving away tickets to from Stage AE. You can check out that on the website.
Hmm.
Um, we have two signings coming up. One with Matt Rosenberg and Tyler Boss on the last day of March, and then on the first Friday of April, we have Paul. Uh, what is his name? Paul. Um, Paul Ayler from the guy who did Marvel Rivals. He wrote Marvel Rivals comic. Um, and then um, also, if you guys need top loaders, we have a shit ton of top loaders. Like literally a metric shit ton of top loaders. Um,
Because I had to
so if
stack
you
them.
need current or silver age size top loaders, which by the way, Justin, grab like two or three cases and bring them to the show on Sunday.
Yes.
Um, because we'll sell them there too. Buck a piece. They come in a 10 pack for $10, or you can buy a case of 100 for $75. Just saying. Lots of stuff. And they fit silver boards. They fit silver boards and they fit current boards. So they'll do both.
There you go.
Um, but it's awesome. And we have a ton of them. Oh, so much stuff. Um, other than that, um, I don't really have anything else coming up. We are going to announce the warehouse sale stuff next week, just so you
Mhm.
know. Just so you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I'm
also
sure.
also the poster art will be released next week.
Yes.
Just so you know. It is going off to the printer
With the
tomorrow.
video,
One
I
way or
hope.
another. One way or another, it is going off to the printer tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
With the video of the for the con advertisement, which you
that'll be
sent
probably
us
Monday
to.
or it'll probably be Monday or Tuesday that
There
hits,
you
but
go. Yeah.
I'm pretty
So
pumped about that. It's pretty good.
yeah. Yep. It was both versions I like, but it's that. Um, thank everybody who came and watched my personal whatnot. I was having issues. Whatnot decided to crap out my phone. So for the longest time, all you saw was black screen.
Oh, that's always fun.
I had to restart it, and then by the time I restarted, everybody who came, who was waiting, left. So,
Oh, bummer.
but I went on like an extra little bit, and I did sell 2 books. So,
That's cool.
yeah.
I was really excited about the guys who were on my Tuesday show. I did $3 Silver Age horror,
Hmm.
and I sold like a shit ton of
Oh
books.
yeah,
It was awesome.
yeah.
Thank you,
Silver
everybody who
Age
did that.
horror is super hot.
Um,
So
and it
it's
was cool because like I got to the end and I had like 10 books left, and they were all like Dell ghost stories, and I was like, you know what, screw it. And I made like one item of all 10 for $30, and one dude just bought all of them in one
there
as
you
one
go.
big item. I was like,
Nice.
whatever. Tonight I'm doing action and Superman books only.
There you go.
So if you're into Silver Age and Bronze Age Superman, that is what I'm doing right now. I'm bagging and boarding them right now as we do this
There we
podcast.
go. There we go. Uh, we're doing next Wednesday, I believe. The Whatnot show for Wednesday is going to be pop culture theme. That's why I was asking for the Whatnot code so I can do it
Oh,
at
okay.
work.
Oh,
There
my Tuesday show is going to be Silver Age Marvel and DC, by the way.
you go. Yeah, but it's going to be pop culture stuff, which is movies, television shows, is comics. So I found some interesting. I found Sliders comic books.
Nice. Nice.
That's- I was like, I'm kind of want to
Hell
keep
yeah.
those actually. I kind of don't want to sell those. Yeah, but I found some interesting stuff there. I think we're gonna go a little bit Wednesdays a little bit away from the superhero stuff for a little bit. People seem to be kind of tired of $1 superhero stuff for some reason. Uh,
I also pushed my Tuesday back to 11 o'clock, and I had a buttload more people watching, by the way,
mm,
just so you know.
yeah,
But tonight's at 9:30, so hey,
there you
whatever.
go.
Anyway, continuing on.
Now, th this is starting to become a habit, which I'm feeling really bad about because we want to be positive, but unfortunately, that's not the way the world works. Um, for those who are in our community, like pop culture or comics, um, a lot of us follow YouTubers. I think I even made the joke of wait till people who are YouTubers start keeling over and passing away because as time has gone on. I was not being serious about this, but apparently this has happened to one of our community members, and it's kind of very tragic. For those who remember comic trips, that would be Paul and Kat.
Hmm.
They were boyfriend girlfriend. They did get married, and then they got divorced, and that's when comic trips kind of ended.
Hmm.
Um, Paul found out this week, and he informed everybody on Facebook that Kat passed away. She was in
Oh,
her late
bummer.
30s.
Wow.
And it really saddened because I was a devout follower. I watched every episode. I've actually started rewatching, realizing how much I missed how positive they were. I missed
Yep.
the prices of comics and figures too, because they were picking up stuff for $1,
Yep.
$2. They were getting sets for $10 a piece for toys and stuff. Um, but on a serious note, it was like our condolences out to her family, to Paul to a degree because they did like kind of mend things and they were on good terms and they were friends, uh, even after everything that happened. Uh, it saddens the fan base. It's I saw a lot of positive. They were one of the reasons why a lot of people got into pop culture and collecting comics and collecting action figures and Star Wars and Back to the Future and anything and everything. They were definitely one of those channels that definitely set that trend for what a lot of YouTubers are trying to do now. Get that special something that clicks with people and have a huge following. So uh, our condolences to her family and the Paul. It
Absolutely.
sucks. You know,
The special sauce, if you will.
yeah. Um, I think
Oops,
that's
this don't go
it.
there.
That's it on my end, at least.
Okay. Well then, let's start some comic reviews and hopefully be a little more positive.
hmm
Okay. Mhm. Boom, you're first.
Ah, all right. It's been a couple issues. Absolute Batman here. Um, apparently, Gotham is in chaos. Um, and it's all over the news. Um, Croc is watching all the chaos happening on TV in his gym. A shadowy figure stumbles into his gym. He thinks he's being attacked, but when he takes a closer look, it is Bruce. He reveals to Croc and pretty much the whole gang that he isn't Batman and he needs help. Which again, this is shocking across the board of what we know of Batman always keeping his secret. Um, and as that's going on, uh, Martha and Jim are on the streets and they see these masks being given out to um, the Gotham public. And you put the mask on, and it's like being in a video game, and it zeroes in on people's faces. And what it does is it's saying, hey, this is how much this person's life is worth. Kill them and get money. And
No,
of
that's a
course,
very like um Black Mirror episode.
yeah, I was going to say very video game-esque, for gamers,
Yeah, but I think there was like literally a Black Mirror episode like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But it turns out Jim Gordon and Martha have like $500,000 on their head, or a million and a
Ooh.
half, 1.5. So they are literally trying to fight for their lives while these people are putting masks on or attempting to because they're blocking their path from this truck full of masks. Um, Meanwhile, Oz is flying a plane. He's yelling and screaming, swearing at Bruce, he's like, all these people, all your friends, he's going down the list to everybody. Like, he's pissed at you. He wants to punch you. Selena, what does Selena think? Never mind. She probably thinks it's hot. And,
Nice.
and he's like, I know. And Ozzy's like, he's like, the plane's running low on fuel. I won't be able to help you. And he's like, I don't ask for help. And he drops down on board to the Mask's boat. He basically takes care of the minions there, kills the one brute. Here comes this little kid with a knife. He ties her up with a life jacket. She drops the knife and she's like, you can't do this. I'm a little kid. He literally hunts her. You see him, he does like the Peanuts punt kick. He and you just see her and here comes her mom, and she sees Batman, and she just dives into the water, and he throws a life jacket to her. Um, and then we're still shooting back over to Martha and Jim as they continue trying to talk people to stop the madness. Because apparently, in the last couple of issues, Batman exposed the plan of the chaos in Gotham. And they're trying to appeal to people's empathy.
Mhm.
Um, and while that has happened, Batman is going ham on Black Mask. And I mean ham. He is beating the crap out of him. Um, he tries, Mask tries to do the whole mafia wire choke thing. And you think he has him down. He puts his head down and his cowl, the pointies on his cowl,
Yeah.
he jams him into Mask's eye.
Neat.
I'm like, wow, this is I'm like, okay, the brutality hasn't stopped since the last time I read Absolute Batman. So good. um, he blows up the boat, which apparently was controlling the entire system of the masks because everything
Mhm.
was all in one system. So the masks are now shut down. People are now quote unquote not worth the money to kill. Um, so everybody kind of that was tempted stops. Jim and Martha are arresting people. And then we see Batman like beat up. And earlier in the book, there was a debate between Alfred and his daughter of leaving Batman high and dry. Alfred decides to come back, and we get the old familiar Alfred bandaging up Batman is the
Nice.
end. So it's a little bittersweet there at the end, a little bit of aw. We do get to see Joker. He looks like he's mutated or something. It's kind of weird. I don't know where they're going to go with it, but he does say something. He's like contact Bane. So I guess from here on in, we're going to see some Bane action, which should be interesting.
That'd be cool.
Um, yeah, I want to see what Bane is in this universe at this point because this is getting again. Scott Snyder not slowing down with this at all. This
Right.
is
I
100
mean, if
miles an
Batman's
hour.
already that huge, I can only imagine what Bane's gonna
Bane
look like.
is, yeah. It's going to be insanity, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give this a 10 out of 12 eggs.
Holy
Yeah,
cow.
yeah,
That's pretty good.
yeah. And I missed like issues 4 and 5. So the fact here we're in 6 and they still continue new ways to surprise you with different back characters, different scenarios. Um,
Yep.
it's great. I'm enjoying it.
Nice. Well, from one absolute to another, um, Absolute Flash #1 by Jeff Lemire, Nick Robles, Adriano Lucas. So, um, this book, I really dig the art like a lot. Um, it's it's just it's just really cool. I like their color usage. I like the lettering of like having like the big words behind the character in the spacing. Like there's sections where it's like 2 days ago and it's like behind the character. So this focuses on Wally West. And he's kind of freaking out. Um, and then it flashes back to a couple days ago, and he's walking back from town. Um, and he's a military kid, and he gets back on base, and the guards are kind of giving him shit. Um, and Barry Allen's working with Wally's dad on a project, and he's like, "Hey, why don't you come down and check out what we're working on? Has your dad ever told you about this?" And he's like, "No." So he goes down and shows him this crazy lab, and you see a bunch of monkeys. Like, obviously, we're gonna get some cool monkeys. Really hoping for a Gorilla Grodd. Um, but we'll see about that in the future. Um,
I
then
love this. I love this cover where he's kind of
right,
sort of
yeah, like
kind of melting.
the whole book is kind of like this. Not
Nice.
not as intense, but very similar. Um, so Wally's dad kind of like reams him out, and he's like, go back to your room, whatever. Flips back uh to Wally in the desert. Um, what I imagine is their Task Force X shows up. Um, so it's Captain Boomerang, for sure, who actually looks kind of cool. He kind of looks like almost like Arrow. Um, a Jesse, a Lisa, and um, and I don't know who the other guy is. Um, at least I don't. They don't really say. But I don't know if that's Jesse Quick. I don't know who Lisa is. I don't know who any of them are. Like they don't really tell. The only reason you know who's Captain Boomerang is because he literally has like a giant boomerang with him. Um, and they call him Harkness, right? Um, but looks a lot like Arrow, which is kind of cool. Um, so they're chasing Wally into a cave that it flashes back to again. Like so now Wally's in his room. Um, playing bass because that's what he did when he was in the Teen Titans, right? Um, his dad comes in, is like, "Hey, your mom died, and I just want to protect you." And he's like, "Shut up! Like what? Like how much? How are you supposed to protect me if I can't even leave my room?" And he's like, "I'm just doing my job." And he's like, "Well, I'm your fucking son," like that kind of thing. Like they have a big
Yeah.
thing, and he's just like, "Can you just like he's like you're not he's like oh Wally's like Barry at least sees the potential. He's like Barry, you're not to talk to him again. Do you understand me? He's like yes sir. So he leaves, goes into the lab. One of the monkeys is screaming at him. With a monkey with a brain on his outside of his head is screaming at him in a cage.
Is it
He
Mojo
go,
Jojo?
it kind of looks like Mojo Jojo. Yeah, it kind of looks like Mojo Jojo. Um,
Are we getting the
weird,
Powerpuff
weirdly,
Girls instead of
weirdly, this is
Flash?
not weirdly this is not the only book this week that I read. This is the only book that I read this week that I'm reviewing that had a talking monkey. I also read Zatanna, which has Detective Chimp in it. So,
That's different. His
um,
brain's not showing. So
right. So anyway, Wally walks in on Barry in the middle of this chamber, and he's screaming to Wally. He's like, "Run, get away, run, run, run!" Wally's like, "Oh shit!" He runs. So uh, you know um, they're they flips back to them chasing him in the cave. They're getting real close on him. He um is just trying to focus, and he's just running. And then you see that the cave that he's running into is actually the cave that was that plant or was that lab, and you see that Barry actually died in there, and uh like it's Barry's skeleton with like what will be the Flash suit on him. Um and then it says like flash forward a year later, and you see a dude looking at or in that same place activating like a almost like the computer files, right? And he says, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, time to make this whole world fall." So it's this version of Mirror Master, right? And you see like Wally playing with the monkey. That sounded terrible. Uh, play. Uh, he's like befriending all of the monkeys, and he's also picking up the Flash suit, um, and it's kind of interesting. So I like the way that this book laid out. I'm not usually a Lemire fan, um, right? He's very hit or miss for me. Uh, this one definitely hit. It started off a little weird, but it definitely hit it toward the end. Um, so I'm gonna give this 9 out of 12. Mostly for the art. The art was fantastic. The story, like I said, was a little slow at the beginning for a Flash book, which is funny. Um, and then it picked up, but it picked up toward the end, and it
Again,
actually came together quite well.
that's
Um,
Jeff Lemire though. He's always slow and kind of weird, but then overall you get his
yeah,
story and you're like, oh, why
yeah,
didn't you say that to begin with?
right. Yeah, so it worked. It worked out. It's just
Mhm.
it took a little bit longer than I was hoping for, but I liked it. I dug it. I'm interested to check it out, and then Absolute Green Lantern soon, and then both of these had a backer story for Absolute Martian Manhunter, which looked pretty good. So
Yes. I got Deadpool Wolverine, number 3. Uh, we're getting was it the last time Wolverine escaped with Deadpool? Well, he's basically just kind of tortured Deadpool to get him where his the executioner program kicks in again because he wants to know what triggers it. Um, well, he ends up doing it. Basically, it's anything like super violent. Which it's Wolverine. What he does, violence is what he does. Um, but he's doing it, and they get into a giant brawl in this like old west version of a bar in South Dakota. Maverick survives the onslaught with the flying dinosaur things. He's getting punished by the government agency that he's working for. I forget what government agency he's working for, but they're like, you might have been infected and we can't take that chance and blah blah blah. And he's like, I'm fine. You guys are nuts. He's like, you got to stop these flying monsters. Don't worry about me. Um, Strife starts doing the process in a graveyard in South Dakota to humans this time instead of dinosaurs. Uh, so he's making undead cowboys, I guess, is where we're going with this. Um, and as Deadpool and Wolverine continue to fight, Strife appears uh, through magic. Um, and then he's still wondering why Wolverine is not like Deadpool, where his programming isn't kicking in. And then we find out it's all thanks to Krakoa, because the Krakoa is still a thing, guys. Because he was reborn, it's a new body. So whatever was implanted inside him before was not reborn with him. So Strife shows Wolverine what's going to happen in the future if he doesn't let these things happen, or if he doesn't join Deadpool and himself in, they said, like, to help the Earth survive. He's like, it's not only humans survive, it's Earth itself, and blah blah blah. And it was the usual, it's like, join me, or the world ends type stuff. And I'm like,
come with me
okay,
if you want to live.
yeah. And then basically he goes off, or Strife disappears, and Deadpool's back to normal. Uh, and then Wolverine's like, Wade, shut up. Do you hear that? And we see the army of undead approaching the bar. And that is the end. Uh, I'm gonna give this like a 5 out of 12. Just because the story is just not making sense like at all. I know it's comic books and we're supposed to suspend, conventional belief, but ugh, that was hard. I mean, the art is great. It's fantastic art. The I have no issue with it. The brawl between Wolverine and Deadpool is hilarious because if it's funny in the movie, it's funny in the comics. Actually, it's funnier in the comics. Um, but it was just not enough. I hope like the last two issues are way better. Um, yeah, this is definitely one of those series. It's like, we really could have did without this, but I understand why they're still plugging it just because the movie came out last year. So,
Fair enough. All right. My next book is Silverhawks 2. So Ed Brisson I really like as the writer, but George Cambadius, I'm not really a big fan of his art. Like it's almost like Rick and Morty art,
oh,
or not
for
quite Rick and
Sil
Morty.
for
More
Silverhawks,
be more like maybe like no, I don't know how to explain it. It's not like Rick and Morty, but it's definitely more cartoony than the actual cartoon was. Like
yeah. Oh,
like
that's
I don't know how to explain it. Um like I wanted it to I just want this if this had like tighter, darker art, like I feel like it's very webtoony style,
okay. Okay.
right?
Yeah, I see what you're
Like
saying.
like
So
does
it's
that
not
make
like the
sense?
cover art here, where the cover art looks
No, that would
realistic.
be awesome. No,
That's a
no.
shame.
That's real cool, but it's not like that at all. So this book it mostly focuses on um Bluegrass and Melodia. They're playing at a casino, and um the like while they're or when they're done playing, they realize that Monstar's there. They want to get the hell out of there. Um, they're part of the story. Melodia double crosses Bluegrass, and him and um, oh, what's the other guy? Him and oh, what is his name? Well, I can't remember what the other dude's name is. Um, but him and the other guy, um, like they escape barely after getting their after Mumbo Jumbo beats the shit out of Bluegrass, which is going to be the catalyst for him to become a Silverhawk, right? Because that's how this works. Everybody gets the shit beat out of them, and then they get turned into a Silverhawk. The other half of the story is Quicksilver waking up and Condor uh being like, "Hey, um like what the hell happened?" Or Quicksilver being like, "What the hell happened? What did you guys do to me? What's going on?" Or sorry, Stargazer is like, "Hey, calm the hell down. We need you to calm down. You're now a Silverhawk." Um and Condor trains him for a while. And it's really funny because he's like it's basically like a scene out of Star Wars where he has like Luke's training with the little Jedi blaster thing, and he's like stop running and fight, and all of a sudden he's like lasers shoot out of him, and he's like, oh wait, I have lasers, oh sweet, and he just starts breaking them. Um, but he's like, fuck yeah, this is awesome. And he's like, okay, cool. Uh, so that was kind of neat. Seeing Mumbo Jumbo was pretty sweet. That was kind of cool. Like he actually was done fairly well. Um, so, um, I, oh, Atticus. Atticus was the other guy. that's with Bluegrass. Um, so it's moving the story along. It's a little slow. Not super bad, but a little bit slow. So I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 12. Um, like mostly because I'm not a big fan of the art. And I think the story is gonna be fine. I think it's gonna work out. But the art, I'm just really not a fan of. But if the story can keep pace, I will read the rest. At least of the first arc, where they all become Silverhawks. But Bluegrass was my guy back in the day because he was a, fucking rock and roll, um,
Hmm.
you know,
It
hero.
was the whole point of that first of the theme song here. He's the one playing guitar in the theme song,
Yeah,
supposedly,
right. Yeah. So, and then Melodia was his bad guy. Like they all had
Hmm.
their juxtaposition guys.
Hmm.
Um, so I thought it was good.
Ah,
So,
the simpleness of
oh,
the 80s. Really.
I know, right? In the early '90s,
Yeah.
I miss those days.
All right. Since we did Herculoids number one last week, thought we'd do Herculoids number two this week. No, from what John told me, they were late with number one, so number two is on time.
Mhm.
Now this is the continuation from the this this alien named as Amzoot, as he had his army of corporate greedy peeps crash down into the planet, and Herculoids attack them and pretty much decimate all his um I don't want to say human, but I'll say his flesh army. He comes back with
My
uh
flesh bag army.
yeah, well, the flesh army, like his fellow aliens, I should say.
Right.
They were all decimated. So he comes back. His reinforcements were all these robots. So, and it was like hundreds and hundreds of robots start coming at the Herculoids. Um, oh, as they were battling, Dorno ends up getting captured and taken hostage by one of the robots. Um, so the Herculoids retreat for now, because they're not going to make a move while uh Denor Dorno is being held hostage. Um, he wakes up with a explosive collar around his neck, as Amzoot explains to him, is like, we're going to mine all the resources from your planet because I work for this corporate blah blah blah. And Dorno is like, he laughs and he's like, what are you laughing at, child? He's like, you know what? It's like Herculoids eat you guys for breakfast. It's like, as he's shit talking the Asmoot, Amzoot, um, Gleep slithers and takes the collar off of him, slides it off, and he gets on Gloop or Gleep and rides off while the robots are chasing him, shooting at him. Well, they come to a power connecting cell, um, just as the Amzoot presses the button for the collar. Well, the kid throws the collar at the power generator, explodes everything. Uh, so the Herculoids are back in it, destroying anything and everything. Um, all the all the robots get destroyed. Pretty much all the majority of Amzoot's crew is decimated. Um, and he starts realizing that the Herculoids are too much for like anybody to handle and trying to defeat, because the specialty of all these monsters they can't handle. Um, and he Amzu ends up getting lost in space, because next thing you know, he's like this rickety, older, like elderly, um, elderly version of himself, repeating. He's like, "We should have just stayed away. Should have just stayed away. Um, the legends are true. Blah 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 blah." Um, and that's pretty much the end of the book. We do get a little intro to the next adventure coming up. Something on the planet awakens, and that's about it. You don't see what's actually awakened, you just see something awaken in a cave, and that's it. Um, I thought this was great. I remember watching Herculoids on reruns all the time, and they were always kind of fun to watch. Um, and I'm kind of glad that's where this is going with the comic. A little bit more mature, yes, but I still feel the spirit of the cartoon is still here. So I'm giving this a 11 out of 12. Uh, it was a fun little 2 issue beginning, an intro for those who don't remember the Herculoids, because this was even before my time. I didn't watch Herculoids until they were reruns on like the Cartoon Network
And
rerun channel and stuff. So, um,
so weirdly, everyone I've talked to that's read this book, it's either they loved it, or they fucking hated it. There was no in between.
it doesn't
Super
surprise
weird.
me. That seems to be like a Herculoids thing. Like
Yeah.
Herculoids has that you either enjoyed Herculoids or you thought it was the dumbest thing
No, 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 no,
Hanna-Barbera
no.
ever did.
I mean, people that loved the Herculoids as the cartoon read
Okay.
this comic, and they either were like, "This is fucking terrible," and hated it, or they loved this
I
new
don't
adaptation.
understand how you can hate it.
And you know what,
Don't
I
understand
said the
that.
same. I the same thing happened when Space Ghost came out. When Pepos updated it. So I don't really care, but I think it was just really interesting, and I thought I would share.
I
So
mean, it's not that far from the actual cartoon. It's the maturity of when they're defeating their enemies. It's not
yeah,
like you actually see them people getting taken damage and killed.
yeah,
And if that's what bothers you, my thing is maybe you should grow up a little bit. I
right.
mean, that's
Yeah,
what do you think happens when you destroy all your enemies? They just nothing. They just
yeah,
go away. No, no.
yeah.
There's
That's kind of how I
casualties.
looked at it too. Yeah,
There's injury. There's things that happen.
yeah,
They're exactly what you that how I remembered them in the cartoon. They like I
yep,
said, it's just you see the repercussions. That's all.
yep, yep. All right, my last book, Thundercats Lost, #1. Uh, so this book, so this book takes place generations after the first Thundercats. So this is New Thundera has fallen, and the cats are going back to Third Earth again, which I don't know why, but whatever. Like this doesn't make any sense to me.
So they're going
But
back to the original planet
they're
they came
they're
from.
going back to the original, like the Third Earth planet, so the Mumra's planet again. But I'm pretty sure at this point, Mumra has gone. There either are no other Thundercats still on Third Earth, or something, because they don't find anybody, right?
Okay.
So these guys, they wake up in an ocean. They're freaking out. There's all kinds of like ships attacking them. Um, the the leader is like, oh fuck, because like everybody's getting like blown apart. Um, and he's like a white tiger kind of guy with like a big fucking hammer. Um, and the main girl is called Pumera. Uh, and she's like the medic. And then the so that's the girl you see there on the cover. Um, then Nico is this um also kind of like white cheetah kind of person with like size. Um, then and she's kind of like the hothead. She's kind of like the Panthro, right? Um, then there's Linkso, who's uh the he's kind of like the old guy. He's the old guy who's blind. He goes back into the ship being like, I need to find the book of the book of Thundera or the book of Omens, because the book of Omens, not the sword of Omens, right? So he's like their shit, who what was that cat dude's name? I forget what that older cat's name was. Then there's Lygon, um, who's like their like beefy powerhouse guy, and he's just like a big beefy lion. Um, and he's their tank, I guess. Um, and those that's kind of the crew, right? And they start fighting, um, and Bengali, who's the white Bengal tiger, with the hammer. He like sacrifices himself to give them time to get out of there. They steal a ship, they fly it into the forest, they crash it. Um, the bad guy in this is Captain Shiner, and he's just got an army of dudes with a bunch of tech. Um, it's a lot more almost like Cobra style. Like he's almost like Cobra Commander style, where he has like an army of guys and he's got like a monocle. Um, like he almost looks like more like a Dr. Mindbender versus like a mutants or a uh Mumra style guy.
Okay.
And then they have this big discussion about who's going to be the leader since Bengali died, and it should be Linkso, but since he's blind, he can't do it. So it's going to be Pumera, um, and then uh, Nico is like, "No, I want to be the leader," and she's like, "You're a hothead, and you can't do that." And then they have like this big fight and talk about stuff, and it was pretty good actually. Like it was a half decently well written. But only toward the end does it actually talk about how um they want to know why the cats have returned to Earth more than a millennium after they rid themselves of them the first time, is what it says. So I'm like, so the cats left a millennia ago, and they're 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 going back to Third Earth like that. That's the part that I was like a little weirded out by. I was like, what the hell? So I'm hoping they expand on that story, because I'm very excited to hear about that part actually more than anything else. Um, so the art in this book was very good. Uh, the story was a little out there because it's a brand new Thundercat story, like it's completely new. Uh, it was very much in the vein of Thundercats, so I dig it. So I'm giving it for a first issue, I'm giving it a 9 out of 12. Um, because like I said, I really like the art. I wanted it to be a little more in depth. I wanted it to be a little longer. It was a little short. Um, but overall I enjoyed it. I thought it was very good. So,
Okay.
good job. Good job, Dynamite. We reviewed three Dynamite books tonight. That's
Hmm.
crazy. So, all right.
So
Now
they're
comes the
getting all
time where
those
we're gonna
properties that are. we've
Right.
always we had as kids. So it's nice to see those properties kind
It's
of make a
our
comeback.
time. It's our time. All right, now comes the time where we're going to tell you that we're going to talk about Daredevil and a little bit about Craven, because
Yeah,
Justin's watched a little bit of Craven, and then we're going to talk about Craven a lot next week.
yeah.
So, because I watched it last week, and so we're going to talk a little bit about it, and yeah, so now's the time where we're going to do spoilers. So we'll talk to you next week. We'll see you
Mhm.
later. And we're going to talk about adult stuff. So, so have a good night. Talk to you later.
Um,
Um, for like the next 10 minutes. Uh, so we'll talk about Craven first because you've only watched like the first half, I think. Not even.
yeah, about
Maybe
well,
half.
I was gonna
Maybe
say it's
half.
probably got to be about halfway at this point.
Yeah, you're about
Um,
halfway.
I'm
So
good. I was gonna
go
say
ahead.
I'm gonna say that this as far as where it's going. If this was an action movie and we didn't know this was Craven, this actually seemed like a really good movie. Like the action scenes are decent. The story is followable. I see where they were going with this. The problem is you chose a character that already has enough lore behind him, and you totally effed it up.
Yep.
They just if this was named, I don't know,
If it was literally just called The Hunter.
yes, yeah, it would just be the hunter. This would be an awesome movie.
Yep.
Like they put the dialogue isn't bad. Like I said, the story is easy to follow. You see where this is going.
Yeah.
I'm getting the gist of it. This is probably the best scripted Sony non-Spider-Man movie.
Mm,
If again, if we didn't know who this character was.
so okay. So all right. So I think so I've seen the whole thing.
Okay.
Um and I will say it is my second favorite non-Spider-Man Sony Spider property. Third, third, third favorite. So Madam Web is actually my favorite. Because I just love that character and I think they did that character justice. I just think that people shit on the movie because they didn't understand it.
Yeah.
Then I actually thought Morbius was a very good movie. It just wasn't a good like theater movie. It was like a good and this is the same kind of vibe. Like if this would have been on like fucking FX, it'd have been a great fucking movie. Like 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 this is like sci-fi channel like gold,
Level.
right? This
Yes.
is like
Yeah.
diamond level sci-fi channel, right? like so good. Um so but I agree. Like there's a lot of stuff that like this movie could have been so much better if they would have paid a little more attention to the lore. Like the fact that he he's he doesn't speak Russian like with a Russian accent. Like except for like the very beginning of the movie when he's
Yeah.
in a Russian prison.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Like Russell Crowe speaks more in a Russian accent the entire fucking movie.
Yeah. But
Like
I get the whole thing though, is like him as a kid is like, well, they were learning school in America, so they picked up the
right.
American accent. And then he ran away from home. So he hasn't actually been exposed to Russian. So
Right.
I kind of I'm putting that out there of
I
I see
I
that that
I kind of gave that like a slide because of that very specific reason,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But
Like I like the
and
usage of his powers. I liked how
I
hardcore he was.
so I have a problem with him being a good guy.
I
Um
don't see him as a good guy as more as anti-hero. He is definitely like this seems like very Wolverine Namor territory of yes, he does good deeds, but he's brutalizing. Like
mm,
he is
yeah, but it
killing. it's
it,
I know they're
I
bad
don't,
guys and we want to see the whole justice thing, and I
I
get
know,
it.
but
It's not hero in the sense of like Spider-Man doesn't kill.
right.
You know,
But to me, like this character needed to be, he needed to come off as a bad guy first to be what we wanted him to be considered Craven, right?
yes.
Then he could have been more of an anti-hero, right?
Yeah.
But to do this anti-hero story and then be like, oh no, he's actually a villain for Spider-Man, then it's kind of like, wait. Isn't he supposed to be a good guy? Same with Venom. It's like, so he's supposed to be a bad guy now? Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
like the whole problem with it is you made this guy likable and
Yeah.
it's like that's not how this is supposed to work. You're
Yeah.
not supposed to root for the bad guy, right?
Well,
So,
again, it's Sony's entire problem of this is why you don't make villains of Spider-Man without Spider-Man.
right.
You've and
Yep.
I
Yep,
understand
yep,
it's
yep.
the whole thing between Marvel and them of you can't use Spider-Man without our permission, and we can't use Spider-Man characters without your permission. And
Yeah.
it's a tug of war bullshit.
Yeah.
And basically the only ones that suffer are us fans.
Yeah.
Is what it
So
is.
so there are like I thought the backstory I thought took way too long. Because it took a long time.
That's why like halfway was like conked
Oh,
out of it.
yeah.
Like I was like, I get it. You had to show how he got his powers. I
But it
kind of get
drug
that part. Yeah,
so long. It
yeah.
drug a lot. It drug a lot.
We didn't need them like I'm taking you out of school because your mother killed herself, so I'm taking you into
Yeah.
Africa and we're gonna
Yeah.
what? What
Also,
the
like,
hell?
so, like, I also, and you're only halfway through, but I also have a problem with Dimitri being his like full on real brother because like in the comics he's his half brother.
Well, they actually that's where you're wrong if you paid attention. They talk about Dimitri being his bastard son.
Right. But they were never that close in the comics.
Well,
Right?
that's
Like they're never
I
like,
understand that.
"Oh, you're my little kid brother." Like they
Yeah,
were never
yeah,
like that. They were like, "You exist.
yeah,
Like you're over here. You exist, but
yeah,
you're not a Kravinoff, right?"
yeah,
Like that was the deal.
yeah.
And
But
that was
they did
kind of
establish him as his half brother, technically.
right. Okay,
Like
okay.
they did put
But
it out there. It just wasn't,
yeah,
you didn't feel it
yeah,
like that was.
yeah. So I thought it was cool that uh they name dropped the jackal. um and then like when because you got to see Rhino like start to Rhino, right? Um
Which I thought was actually really cool.
mhm,
That like
mhm.
I give them credit. I'm like, that's way better than the mechanical crapshoot that they had in Amazing Spider-Man. You
Yeah,
know, I take I take that Rhino over this Rhino. Uh,
I concur.
yeah,
I agree. It ended up being like, whoa, that actually was kind of cool.
yeah,
Like I kind of dug it actually.
yeah. I kind of like how he used it. Like they didn't give you the full transformation from the part that I saw is
Yeah.
that point where they shoot him and he's just like unbuttons his shirt, picks up a bullet and goes beep,
Yep.
beep. I'm like, okay, that's badass. That
Yeah.
is cool. Props to you.
Yeah.
Maybe you should have made a Rhino movie. Probably would have been better. Probably could have been. Probably could have did that. Because to be honest, the Rhino was seemed like a better bad guy than Russell Crowe as the dad, where he's just, I'm an asshole
Well,
dad that likes to
well,
kill people. That's a
I mean
gangster.
that's another problem with this movie is they have more than one bad guy, right? Like they
Yeah.
have his dad and then they
Um,
have Rhino, so you got to deal with two bad guys at once.
Did
So it
they
kind of
not learn from
splits,
Spider-Man 3? You
right?
know,
And it,
it's
yeah. So it kind of splits the problem. Like they don't really use Calypso besides like
love
the
interest.
backstory part and the sort of love interest.
Yeah,
So it's kind of like okay, like but other than that, like she's kind of like meh, whatever. Like they just kind of whatever with her, and it's
yeah,
like there's so like they do so much focus on just Craven that they do the same thing they do every fucking time. They focus on the main character and they don't do anything with the guys around him. Like they don't do enough development of everybody else.
yeah,
So, but I am curious to see how the rest of the movie goes for you. We'll talk about it more next week. I don't want to
yeah.
talk about it too much because there is a lot more to talk about when you see the
Oh,
rest
I'm
of it.
sure. I'm sure.
So yeah. But all right, so Daredevil this week. Um so I got a text from my buddy Dan, who's a big Daredevil fan, and he just goes, "Did you see this week's episode?" And I went, "Yeah." And then he just goes, "Dude, that fucking Frank speech, holy shit!" Like he was
Oh
just
yeah.
talking about like the Frank speech, and he's just like how he thinks that it was most likely Barenthal just winged that because there was talk about how he would do that a lot because
Yeah.
he takes the character so seriously and he like
Hmm.
really gets into it. And I was
Hmm.
like, I can see that.
Yeah,
But I thought that scene was probably the best scene of the series so far and is
it was
probably going to
passion.
win some awards. Like, holy
Yeah,
shit, man. Like, it
yeah.
was
It
good.
depends on how much more the Punisher is going to be in the series. I imagine he's gonna help Daredevil in the
Yeah.
series a little bit.
I
Um,
imagine we'll see him at the end, but I don't think we'll see him much more. So I really
mm,
want to see him. Like I'm like we're halfway through almost. Like we're one episode away from being halfway through.
mhm.
Um, and he hasn't gotten back in the suit yet. So I'm like, is it gonna happen?
But
Because we kind of saw it toward the end.
yeah, well, he
But
didn't get the suit, but we did get to see the new staff. Ooh, ooh,
yeah,
and
yeah,
notice the camera positioning was towards the black helmet.
yeah, yeah.
So if we get black and red Daredevil, ooh,
Like the so are you thinking
ooh.
like like the Scott McDaniel uh the hell was it called like deep like the devil what the hell was it called? It was something devil like like his black and white and red suit that Scott McDaniel did that they ended up using in like the M2 universe version of Daredevil.
Oh,
Um
okay, okay. I see which one you're talking.
Dark Devil, the Dark Devil
Dark
version.
Devil. I
Or or do you think we're gonna get more like the one where he was like the ruler of hell, like that
I think
one?
he's going to be closer to the ruler of hell. I think it's going to be more. It's going to be black and red without white. I don't think there's
See,
going to be.
I think it's gonna be the Scott McDaniel style, and I think the end of this series is gonna be a little bit of Fall from Grace, or it's gonna lead into the Fall from Grace storyline. I think we're gonna get that,
Mm,
which would be cool. I think that'd be great because then Scott would get a little bit of love.
mm. But yeah, I definitely. You're starting to see where this is ending up, and I'm giving credit to the entire cast. Is this definitely does not
Crushing it.
feel like the usual MCU stuff, like where people are
Right.
like, they're like, well, it's too slow. And to a degree, I think it is like there's no action. That's not what you're seeing. You're seeing the build, but it's a good build. You're seeing the problems. You're seeing each character dealing with their own problem in their own way, whether it's them trying to improve themselves or fall back into old habits, like you
Yeah.
saw with the Kingpin eating his dinner like he did back in that first season.
Yep.
while he's torturing his wife's lover. Well,
Yep.
not torturing, but holding him at least hostage.
Yep.
And, you know, um, it's great. I love seeing that. I like seeing some of the new characters in this story. Was it the campaign kid? Uh,
Yeah.
I love that because I think the Kingpin sees himself in this kid.
Hmm.
And I think the way he is dealing with it is actually what a father would treat his son. Um, you know, I
I agree.
understand we are all human, we all make mistakes, that was powerful in and of itself. That's a little
Yeah.
bit of growth from the Kingpin. And
Yeah.
that was pretty cool. It's
I
I know people want this badass fight and they can't wait until all this shit blows up. And I'm looking forward to that too. I want to see a good Daredevil fight in an alley, beat the shit out. I want to see that too. But I want to see some story structure. We're seeing story structure. We're seeing the bricks being laid, the good
Yep.
foundation, and then the next what couple couple of episodes, you're going to see fighting. You're going to see how this is all going to blow out, and
Hmm.
then there's going to be next season because they're signed for next season.
Yep.
So
They're already
it's
filming it. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 And so
I
for those who are a little impatient, just be patient. This
Yeah.
isn't like Moon Knight, where I think it dragged too long very early in that. It took them too long in like getting to the bad guy and telling the story. This is telling the story at a good pace. You're just not getting the Avengers action where there's Cap's punching a Nazi and Tony's blowing something up and Hulk is smashing something. You're getting something deeper. You're getting something more connected to what's going on today in current society, in current affairs. You're just seeing it on screen, and I think it's brilliant.
I agree. I think that I think it was also nice that we got a scroll mention. We got to see the yellow helmet. Um,
You got to see all the helmets.
yeah, yeah, that's also true. We get to see all the helmets. I also thought it was cool that like we're oh that we got to see the next White Tiger. Because we got to see his niece. Um,
Could be a
I
little
think it's
young though to be
cool.
doing that though.
Yeah, but that's like she is though. Like she is
Is she
that
going to be
in
part of
the
that next
comics.
Avengers?
I think she'll be part of that Young Avengers team, yeah. Um, but because she hangs out with like Miss Marvel, like Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, and like the cartoons and stuff. Um, but I really feel that we're going to. I think it is about to really pick up. Um, but I really like that. And again, this I think it's the recovering Catholic in me that it's just we got to see um, that guilt trip. And this is that guilt trip and that break point where he had with
Mhm.
Frank, where he fucking punched Frank in the face, and then he was like, "I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry," and he's like, "No, this is the first honest thing you did," and I was just like, "Yeah, yeah, holy
Mhm.
shit, that was really
Mhm.
good," and that was really I liked it. So. All right, that's about all the time we got because I got to get ready for my thing.
Yep.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you next week. Make sure you stop by on Sunday down in South Hills.
Yep.
Um, follow us on socials, check us out, and be nice to each other. High five more people. You know, be chill. Don't be
Yep.
freaking out. Be chill. So, all right.
All right.
We will catch you guys later. Thanks so much.